Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a review on this 5-piece front end service ball joint separator Pitman arm tie rod end puller toolkit that you see on eBay anywhere from $39 all the way up to about $100 depending on how many pieces you want to buy. But we're just going to review a standard ball joint separator kit here that you can use on basically all cars. But if you need to go on the higher end, maybe you have an exotic car, a Subaru, or something a little fancier, you may have to go ahead and do more research and buy a separator ball joint kit that might actually work for you. But this is just for basic generic jobs for just about your average car that's on the road today. Now here is the kit I bought for $39 on eBay. I really got tired of going to the parts store and renting them out, and after a while you get them home, you find out they're beat up and half the things are either broken or they don't work. And I just felt really bad taking them back because, you know, sometimes they think you may have actually done the damage to it. So one way to eliminate this is just to go ahead and buy your own set. And as you see here, as I scroll down here on eBay, you can see they are quite plentiful. Lots of them online, different colored cases and so forth, but they all basically work the same. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you what I bought. Alright, so there it is. Came in the mail. Pretty heavy. It weighs about 20 pounds or so. So I'm just kind of curious to see if it got beat up, because sometimes when you buy tools online, they're kind of heavy. The packaging, yeah, it's not quite all that great, but nevertheless, you're seeing it for the first time, and I'm going to open it up, and I don't know what I got, so hopefully we got our ball joint separator kit here in really good shape without being damaged too much. And the plastic cases, they actually get broken a little bit. So there it is, and alright, pretty nice case, pretty heavy there. And now we'll go ahead and open it up. I never know which way I should go with it, so it's always good to kind of make a mark on it after you get it so you know which way is up, which way is down. So I assume this is probably down with this tab back here. So we'll try that. Open that up, and nope, I was wrong. So we'll flip it over. So I'll end up writing something here so I'll know to keep this side up. All right, now we'll open it up, and there we go. So there's our little manual that we have. Basically, care and what thing does what, and probably you could order some parts for this if you break something. And here is the kit itself. Now, sometimes when you're using a lot of these tools, you got to remember to put oil on these, keep these nice and clean. Now, these pieces here, these nuts, like you see right here, this adjustment nut, it's going to work a little stiff until you work it back and forth a little bit. Once you get oil on it, it will clean these threads up, and this will work a lot easier. So that looks pretty nice there. And here is the ball joint separator. Now, a lot of guys end up breaking these because what they do, they go ahead and they put these on, they start tightening this down, and they think they can just tighten this down until they separate whatever they're trying to separate. A lot of times when these get into a bind, you got to take a hammer and start tapping on the tie rod ends or whatever, your Pitman arm, to kind of put some vibration through it, and this will actually separate the ball joint a lot easier, or whatever you're trying to break loose, and you won't end up breaking that. So just kind of keep that in mind. And here's a look at that. I think you can kind of see that there. Nice and heavy. And also we have, let's see, we got probably another tie rod end remover here. Well, it's pretty heavy, so I'll end up using this here probably the next couple of days, and I'll probably do a review within about 6 months, let you know how everything is so far. So if you want to spend about 40 bucks and get something like this just to do some maintenance, or if you were starting a YouTube channel and you don't have a lot of money, if you're on a budget, this is a good way to go. And seems pretty solid there. And there's the option here. You can use an Allen socket here, or you can use actually a regular socket on the outside. I think you can kind of see that there. In case you're getting into an area where you can't get a socket on this, you can get an Allen socket on the inside of that. And here is a gear puller, or whatever you want to use. Tie rod end, ball joint. You can probably use this a lot of different ways. And this seems pretty heavy also. So Unless you're going to be working on a big diesel truck or something, this is probably not the tools for you. This is more like Chevrolet, General Motors, Ford, ball joints, smaller cars, and so forth. So there's a nice look at it. I think you can see the threads on the adjustment bolt here is pretty good, nice and smooth. I think this will be a nice little tool set for me to have, because it's sometimes, you know, when you go to parts stores, you really can't get a lot of tools rented out like you used to. They're kind of doing away with that because they're finding a lot of people bringing tools back and they're breaking them. That's what I've found. That's what one of the general managers locally told me about the tools that they were getting. Now, I'm not sure what it's actually made of. On the documentation, it just says forged for strength. And here's a magnet. And let's see. Yeah, it picks it up. So I guess it's mainly steel. Forged steel is what they're saying. So no problem there. So pretty heavy. And picking it up, no problem there. So I was kind of worried maybe it had a little bit of aluminum in it, but I don't think they would make a tool that has aluminum in it because it would never hold up. And this piece here is really heavy. This magnet's not going to, well, maybe it will. Okay, so pretty stout there. And yeah, no problem. So I guess this is all forged steel, which is kind of nice to know. So that was interesting for that. Okay, so there is a nice look at that. And I did notice on the case here, you can see right there, you can see a little hole. This is sometimes what you got to watch. If the packaging was just a little bit better, this would be great. But I had problems with another case that I bought a couple years ago. Actually, the side of the plastic here was busted. So, well, what do you want for 40 bucks, right? But nevertheless, there is that, and it does sit in there nice and tight. So the other thing here is, I was looking through the manual, and there's actually, right here, you can get a parts list. If you break something, you can actually order some parts for this, which is kind of nice because I have tools you can't order parts for. Once they break, you pretty much have to buy the whole tool again, new. And here is some more of the inside paperwork, the instructions, and how to keep it clean, so forth, in a 1-year limited warranty. And this is by a company called OMT. I've never heard of them. But there's a lot of aftermarket stuff online these days that you can't pronounce or you've never heard of, I'm sure. That's just the way it is nowadays as technology is changing and people are getting into the business of tools, selling tools. And on the back, some more information. But nevertheless, you can see we have a nice layout here of the manual where you can actually order more parts if you break anything. So hopefully this will help you out if you're going to spend 40 bucks. I would say this is probably well worth it because just one of these pieces, if you go, let's say, to one of the higher end parts stores, I know this right here is about $25 if you buy this and you decide one day that you need this and you're working on your car. Well, I know for another $15, just buy all this. So if you're going to be doing any automobile work, I would go ahead and buy something like this. That way you'll have it because, you know, sometimes inconvenience is very expensive, especially if you live out in the country and you don't have a parts store where you can just go out and rent tools and so forth. So this is nice to have in your shop, and you actually can just carry this with you in your car or truck or whatever. And of course my OCD is kicking in, so I've got to make something, I've got to print something out. The OCD is alive and well today. Okay, problem solved. Now I know which is up and which is top. So hopefully you like this little tool review. I know there are hundreds of tool reviews online, but some people don't do the cheaper end tool reviews. And also, one thing you might want to do as soon as you get this is make a photocopy of this. It's just one piece of paper. That way you'll have this later in case you do break something, and you can reference some parts on here that you actually may need. And if you keep this and you leave this in the box, obviously it's going to get destroyed over time. We don't get oil on it, and it's going to become unreadable. So just a little idea there. So if you like this review, give it a thumbs up. Let me know where you're watching from, and I hope you like this little tool review. And until my next video, guys, thanks for watching. And subscribe and like, and I will have more tool reviews coming up soon.